about to come! Oh, I'm gonna come so
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Fight Bible, and today we are going to be discussing the results of the Ben Askren Jake Paul fucking circus show.
What is Jake doing? What is this?
What the fuck is that?
Funky Ben Askren!
Funk down. We got the funk. Hey, gotta have that funk.
Is that a motherfucking robot? That is not a motherfucking robot.
He said that NFL teams have mascots, so why shouldn't boxers?
Oh my God.
Because let's face it, it wasn't much of a boxing match.
Man, Ben Askren was sent in circles in a circus like a fucking clown after that shot. It was, like deep down inside, I had a real bad gut feeling Jake Paul was going to win. I didn't like to admit it, because you know when you want something so badly to go the other way around. Like when you buy a lottery ticket, what am I going to spend my money on? And you know what, no chance. It was the same with this.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and it was it's a shame. I thought it was stopped too early. A lot of people are saying, nah, he would have died. No, Ben walks like a turd all the time. Like his stance is so bad. I don't think he was wobbling. I'm sure he was all over the place, and his mate, he just got banged and put on his ass with an absolute haymaker. And the worst bit was that shot he threw. I noticed he threw it as a single beforehand, right? He threw a huge missed. And I thought maybe if he set it up, it might be better.
Jake Paul sparred with former world champion Jean
Literally 3 seconds later, jab.
Pascal and
Get my
also
money,
cruiserweight
Jake. Get my
contender.
motherfucking money, Jake. Get my motherfucking money, Jake.
Boom.
Like, I did more like a right hook over. I think it was an overhand. Caught him right in the temple. Like the ref looking around for a sniper. But I think the ref should let that carry on, man.
Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. What a finish him.
And this one is over.
For the hype which this fight built up, I think there definitely should have been allowed a proper full standing 10 count, because he didn't. He walked away, he looked at Jake, he stepped back, Ben walks forward to him. Like we said, Ben walks duck-assed anyway, he staggers, he's a wrestler, he walks very square on. He was never going to pick his shoulders back up and come forward like a professional boxer would. He just did a Ben Askren walk.
Like a sparrow.
Yeah, he's got his ass out.
No,
especially in those high-waisted trousers, high-waisted boxing shorts as well.
He looked the worst shape I've ever seen him in physically.
It was bad. His weigh-in photo was terrible.
Stepping onto the scales, U.S. Olympian.
Well, you look like it was beyond dad bod. Do you know what I mean? It was more like
Granddad.
bad bod. Do you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, so, but I don't think Ben Askren really gave a flying hoot.
No.
Because like you said, he probably worked, because Joe was keeping an eye on his social media, because he's a stalker, and that's what stalkers do. Like my ex-girlfriend, he knows everything. And he noticed that he was putting up all these ad campaigns.
So this fight was huge for Ben Askren, really. He went from kind of a lower name MMA fighter, which got knocked the fuck out by Jorge Masvidal. He had a fallout with Dana White. He was no longer part of the UFC. Where was he going? He wasn't going to go back to Bellator. That's a massive step back. So he was kind of looking for a way out. So this fight was huge for him as a way to relaunch his brand, and it definitely worked. He went from not even having 100,000 followers on Instagram. He now has 900,000, and the brand deals he did in the last week alone were probably worth more than most of his MMA career. Like, we have like 15 brand deals in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, we got 10 ripped down here, Joe.
Yeah,
we
let's
got
see what
10,
we got.
and that's in the last, what, couple of weeks?
Couple of weeks.
So we got eBookie, obviously, for probably some
Betting
shop. RDX, which is a really shit brand for boxing. It's pretty good. It's just mid-range, low-budget shit. Coin Flip ATM, so some ass to mouth going on there. YouBoughtIt.com, Rockfin, Raw One Protein, the Slippy Mask, Hair Club, obviously being with the hair he's got, the funky. America's Card Room, and Dude Wipes, which I assume is what men use after sex. But, I mean, imagine...
I think Jake Paul used them on Ben after the fight.
Yeah.
Hey!
Motherfucking money, Jake.
Just wipe his mouth, a little bit of Jake's jizz on it.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you guys think of the fight? I mean, it wasn't much of a fight to watch, really.
No,
Ben didn't look
The
good.
show was good. Like, there were some great singers.
Did you like Justin Bieber on it?
Apparently Bieber was amazing.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. We the band, baby. Oh, wait. Oh, shit.
I didn't watch that
No,
because I
neither
don't watch gay porn. But we had, not that that's derogatory in any way at all, by the way, boys, for that little dweeb in the comments. Yeah, my God, you made a joke and it offended nobody. So I'm offended for nobody. The commentary was just more hilarious. It wasn't good, it was hilarious.
It wasn't commentary, it was mostly just Snoop Dogg screaming.
About 2 million.
Go! About to go! Oh,
It's about to go down.
Ben Askren's built like a bag of milk.
I hope they start kissing.
Being out there fighting like a 1940s fighter with that old ass style.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna put $2 million on a motherfucking goofball?
Remember? Joe keeps staring at us, cut my head.
Sorry.
When he's getting my tits now. when I fought Rob Whittaker, he got an elbow on the top of the head. The problem is, you think, oh, but Brad, surely you must know by now not to shave over it. Yeah, but mate, when you've had a couple of beers, got bottles of brandy, straight through it.
So it ended with, like you said, Jake was setting up the big overhand right. He fucked it once, didn't land it. And then the next time, he shot out a nice jab, boom with the overhand. And Ben even admitted that his coaches said to him to not react to the jab. And he did, he reacted to the jab. And the overhand swiftly finished him off.
I thought he looked a little bit intimidated, actually, Jake Paul. He was being like, for all that shit he was talking when he's in there, he was being like quite tentative, if you know what I mean. I know when he banged him out, he was obviously fucking
buzzing,
coming in on a fucking golden chariot from, you know, space aliens. But yeah, he was coming, you know, he was like, do you know what I mean? But before that, he was quite respectful, which I didn't expect him to be. He was, how am I going to say it? He was like a bit tentative. He didn't really try in the clinch. He was worried. Ben Askren had no fear on him at all. He didn't give a flying hoot. He asked me, he didn't care if he won or not.
Well, he knew he wasn't. He was either going to get knocked out really fast,
or go with decision and get a hiding.
But he knew he also wasn't probably going to take that much damage, because if a punch was enough to do damage him,
it's just that one
that's
punch.
Game over.
I mean, obviously people have died from one punch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I mean, normally pissed at people lit there on the floor afterwards. But in boxing, there's been big punches that kill people. That poor guy that died in the ring not long ago.
But wasn't that quite late in the fight?
I can't remember what it was. It doesn't matter. It was the hit. I think he hit his head so hard on the canvas. He never got up. That was the last time. It was just really sad.
Savage.
But we don't talk about ring deaths anymore because it's a thorough subject. It's quite upsetting. It's really bad. It's like the worst case scenario. And that's some people's argument for stopping the fight. But I mean, Ben Askren's a sacrifice MMA fans are willing to make, so he didn't make us look bad when he lost. But let's not forget the worst striker in the UFC ever was Ben Askren.
Absolutely.
Unless you know someone else.
No, absolutely. But imagine being the kind of guy who gets off on challenging the retard. And I use that word, not trying to offend people, but if you have a choice of 10 people that you have the option of going, I want to fight you, or I want to fight you, and you scan the line and go, I'll have the fat chubby kid that clearly can't actually do much, is a terrible striker, but he's a bit of a laugh, a bit funny, and if you bait him, he will react. Because that's what basically he did. No one wants to just be like steamrolled by Jake Paul. No one wants to be taking the piss out of in his videos and just accept it. You've got to give a little bit of shit back. As soon as you bite, as soon as you attach yourself to that line, you're along for the ride. And Jake took full advantage of it. And
don't forget, something we did miss out. We were going to do a prediction, and my prediction would have been this. I'm going to tell you the truth. I would have lied, and I would have said I want Ben. I think Ben will win on decision. In my head, I knew. I'm a bit of a spineless pussy for saying that. I know. I mean, if you actually looked at the banter at the beginning, right? I gave it all to Ben in terms of like. I mean, he had him under his little thumb. Everything he'd done, it was just.
Showtime, baby. 22 days away. 22 days away. It's showtime.
The champ is here, baby.
22 days away. Bro, you in 36.
Yeah, we gave no shits.
Oh, he didn't care. And Logan, that's what's funny. He never once said Jake. It was when I first got offered the fight with Logan's little brother, and he was sort of like saying like no one knows who he is and that. Well, obviously everyone knows who Jake Paul is. Well, most people do now, don't they?
That's definitely over the 6-person bubble limit, right?
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's noise. It literally is just noise.
Yeah, I prefer Logan. I think I like his podcast. When Mike Tyson went on there, and he took a load of mushrooms. Do you see that? No. He's like, well, what would happen? What would happen if Jake Paul fought Mayweather? He'd be like, you get killed. So he had like 4 grams of mushrooms.
He become Shorty from
literally
scary movie. I'm just high as fuck, giggling in the corner.
Yeah, it was like I loved all of it, all the build up behind it and all that, and I like the way even Logan got a few little shots in there, right? He was I mean, Jake was always getting beat up by my sparring partners. They're always beating up with him. I was like, oh, he will not like that. Because you know for a fact he watches his brother's YouTube non-stop to see if he gets mentioned, to see if there's anything derogatory in there. But, I mean, if I had to, like I said to Joe earlier, if I had to put everything I'd ever earned in my life down on someone to win, it would have been Paul.
You think I'm gonna put $2 million on a motherfucking goofball?
It would have been Jake Paul. There's no argument about it. If it was a real fight, come on, we're not stupid. We know Ben Askren would have won that in about a minute. I just wish it went on for a bit longer, but I think he would have just come out and dropped him again. The ref would have stopped anyway. Because I know for a fact he was that. And Ben's head movement, like, if I had £1 for every time that Ben moved his head in that round, it would be £1, and that was when Jake hit it.
His head only moved when he got impacted by his
the only time his head moved is when Jake smacked it. And I was like, wow, man, you sort of look at it and go, do you want to... I mean, you want to say to Ben, like, Ben, does it feel good blocking punches with your face? You know you're not going to win a fight.
Do you know what feels
right?
good? The $1 million payday at the end of it.
Yeah, and that's what I think all you care about. Well, 500 grand on paper.
500 grand to appear, to show. 500 grand to show. That's more than UFC headlines. That's high level.
Yeah, it's championship money.
Plus, 20 grand plus per Instagram post, 5 grand maybe for an Instagram story, and then he got a share of the pay-per-view. Even if, say, 1 million people bought it at $20 a buy, so 20 million on the cards, they had to pay all of those singers, all of the backroom staff, all of the event hire for things like the press conference.
How many people?
All of that goes into it.
1.5
million buys, which would account to $75. That means they were charging $50. $50 to watch that shit show. Ugh.
So that more than paid for the singing. The YouTube celebrity put on one of the biggest fights of the year so far. Jake Paul claimed that his fight with Ben Askren earned $75 million and 1.5 million buys, which would make it one of the biggest fights of recent years. Christ.
Okay, so Jake's channel, from last Monday, he was averaging around about 500,000 views a day.
What's that in money, Joseph?
Which is a lot, which you're talking probably over $1,000 a day at least in YouTube rev. But in the last week, he has jumped from 400,000 views to 5 million views a day, which is worth anywhere between a couple of grand to $10,000 a day just in YouTube rev.
What's that one there? It's even more, isn't it?
15,000. 7 million.
That's pounds too, man.
Oh yeah, shit, yeah.
That's £15,000.
Yeah.
It's like $21,000 or something. It's
Yeah.
even, it's extortionate a day.
It's a lot of money.
It's more than this channel's earned. Do you know what I mean?
Quite a lot.
A little peasants over here. Like, yeah.
Okay, changing subject. Who is next for Jake Paul? Do you think there is even a next opponent? Do you think that this show will continue? Jake, I think, wants to become a professional boxer. I think it gives him a sense of legitimacy that a YouTube career can't have. I think he is hungry and desperate and lost and lonely, and he needs acceptance by the community. He really does. He's really hunting for it.
He's super
he wants to
athletic
be
as
known
well.
as a professional boxer. If that's the case, mate, Stop making a spectacle of your fights.
Is that a motherfucking robot?
He said that NFL teams have mascots, so why shouldn't boxers?
Oh my God.
Enter the circuit, start low. Actually fight people on the ladder. Work your way up the system.
Has he fought a boxer yet?
No.
Right, that's where we need to start then.
Yeah.
So maybe next he fights someone who is also...
But the problem is...
They'll get him a journeyman. They won't get him someone who's upcoming like himself. And if they did, I'm sure a good boxer
he can't get a top 15. Not the slightest.
Oh my God, no, that'd be death.
He'd be dead.
That'd actually be... They wouldn't, if the ball would even allow it.
No, exactly.
I'm
but
sure
the problem is, his ego will make him want to be main card on these fights.
Well, he'd be a main card just because of his name.
But he doesn't deserve it.
Well, he does. He sells tickets because that's how they work.
I know, but it doesn't, does it? When CM Punk entered the UFC, was he main event for that fight?
No.
No, he wasn't.
Did he say he did sell a few tickets? I suppose, didn't he?
Yeah, but
I think
Jake
he was
Paul
on the main card. But...
No, main card, but not main event.
No.
No, exactly. So Jake Paul, he might get main card on, like a next up and coming big pro fight, but does he deserve it?
Brought someone
does
in
he deserve it?
CM Punk. Do you remember
I know
that?
they did, yeah.
Mickey Gill, was it?
Yeah.
They actually brought someone in because there was no one else on their, like, they look at the roster and they go,
ooh, that he'd kill him.
Let's get this one out. Let's pull someone out.
The problem is, I don't think there's any ceiling to Jake Paul's arrogance in this way. Who is he going to call out next?
He's undefeated, don't he? But he's only fought. Did he beat KSI?
No, he beat KSI's retarded little brother who only ever plays FIFA. Literally, again, he called out the geeky, skinny kid, which he outweighed by like...
He's not fought anyone who can fight back.
Nope.
Well, he fought someone that could fight back in a real fight, but they took that one... So the fact he chose Dylan Dallas was the other one, was purely because he's terrible at striking.
Yeah.
And so's Ben Askren. I know he was on about calling Conor McGregor out, but that was just like death.
That's
like,
just stupid.
That'd have been... And he's twice the size of McGregor, but it makes no difference.
But again, that's down to the ego level of Jake Paul. Why would you, as a 6'1", 180-pound guy, why would you call out the 5'8", 145er? It's just an ego thing.
Yeah,
people
and
saying he ought to fight.
Didn't he call Mayweather out?
Yeah, of course he did.
Mayweather's even smaller.
Mayweather's 125. He's tiny.
70 pounds on him, and I still think he'd win.
But it's just insane the fact that he thinks he can get away with it. It deserves some credibility, and I don't think Jake's doing it that at all.
Well, I don't give a flying hoot. I just want to see someone get banged out.
Would you fight him?
Yeah, I cut weight. Oh, I'll tell you what, for $1 million I'd fucking cut weight. Christ. My mouth.
Do you reckon the bear should
It'd
come
never
back?
happen. It'd never happen. He would take it for a start.
Why not?
Well, why would he?
Could you call him out?
Call him out, well, what would happen? He'd just say no and ignore it.
You never know. It's about
That's
traction,
easy,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Get the views, money, give it to us.
I would have pulled Askren's limbs off if it was boxing. Just boxing. I was watching it, but do you know what? I am impressed with Jake Paul. He does look like a half-decent boxer, but when he was in there against Ben, he looked a bit standoffish. He was a little bit...
That's the nerves.
He was nervous. He got nervous to death. I'm not surprised he was nervous because he actually knew someone...
How would the nerves get you?
No, they wouldn't, not like that.
No?
I'd be nervous because you always get anxiety if someone... Everyone gets anxiety. But I've knocked loads of people out. Givenly, in boxing gloves, I've only knocked out a handful of people, maybe 10, 15. And most
but you're also... They're
accident.
usually people you know, and they're shots which you expect them to maybe slip or block.
Yeah, and then they get
and it gets through. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you were actually trying to knock them out.
And I also fought at a half decent level. I worked kickboxing, and I was the English champion. Thai boxing, I was the English champion. Well, we might call him out. I just messaged him on tweet. Look, I might go then. And Jake Paul, I'm coming for you. The grizzly bear attacks. But if I check the weight, and he goes, yeah, I'd fight you in 3 months. I'm like, oh, I'd look like a right cunt when I couldn't do it. No.
So the hardest part about fighting Jake Paul for you was just making
weight.
weight.
Yeah. That was the hardest part of most of my fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that fucks your head. And I think they're strict on boxing too, so
absolutely.
The reality is it'd take me 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'm
so the hardest part about fighting Jake Paul from Brad's point of view is just making weight. The fight, it's like...
I'm not bothered about the fight.
Not actually bothered about the fight.
I'll do fine. I wouldn't got hit by that overhand right. I'm really good at pulling. Yeah. Coming back in, and I'm longer reach.
You're elevated.
I'm not as fast, but I hit a lot harder. I don't know if I'm slow compared to him actually. He didn't look that good, but he's game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There is a chance I could lose. Small one, but there is a chance I could lose. And I'm humble enough to admit he has got knockout power. Do you know what I mean? So have I. But, you know, but I actually fought other boxers, other kickboxers and stuff. I was never a boxer. I always done really well boxing.
Yeah, you say you weren't a boxer, mate, but I've seen you go fucking 12 rounds with like Nick Blackwell, Dan Blackwell, Gareth Hurd. You know, loads of fucking guys who were literally British champions.
But I'm confident I could beat a couple of months training. I'd finish Jake Paul. But I've also trained for about 10 years longer than he has. Do you know what I mean? But
that shows the difference in level, though.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long time. I was watching him. I was watching him on the punch bag. Looks pretty slick. Got quite good. A bit rough around the edges. Not very tidy. But do you know what I mean? It is what it is. I don't even know what weight he fights at. I'm sure it's too late for me.
I think there is some legitimacy to this. I think that Jake needs to either step into a ranked fight against actual boxers, or just stop trying to fight people. Because
that aren't fighters.
Yeah. You know, you can call
he claims himself to be.
Yeah.
Obviously Ben Askren was a fighter, but we meant a boxer.
A boxer, yeah.
We meant fighter boxer.
There is two very, very different things. I'm going to quote Icy Mike on this now.
You might be confused about the difference between MMA and boxing. Just like hockey and figure skating. Yeah, there's skates in both. Yeah, there's punching in both. But what you're doing is not really that related to boxing.
Boxer.
Yeah, it's just... He needs to figure out what the fuck he's doing. I don't know what direction he's going to go in, who he's going to approach next, or who he's going to call out next, because the Ben Askren fight kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? It was just some internet beef, and the next thing you know, he's calling out and setting up this huge fight. But I think he needs to stop making as much of a spectacle of it and getting celebrity blimmin' commentators and 12 singers to sing at his shows, and just keep it about the boxing. If he wants some legitimacy in this sport, he has to take the sport seriously. Can't make it a sideshow.
We're about to leave you on this little note. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, share. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Please light it up. It keeps Joe's phone going all night, and it's brilliant when he can't sleep.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Okay, run out.